following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewers, welcome to Chungu Cha Jamii. I'm your host Eunice Mugo. Today on the show we are continuing with our conversation where we left yesterday on after dating, what next? I have the same people with me who are going to continue with this joyful conversation where we want you to continue interacting with us. Send in your question, your comments across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. I will allow them to introduce themselves, starting with you, our lady.
Hello viewers, my name is Roslyn and I'm the guest. Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Madam Roslyn. And to you, sir.
Hello viewers, my name is Benjamin. I'm a mind education specialist.
Welcome on the show, Mr. Benjamin. And
Thank
to you,
you.
sir.
Hello viewers, I'm James Ketuzi, a professional life coach, a personal and corporate development trainer.
Welcome on the show, Mr. James.
Thank you.
Now, our topic today is after dating, what next? We had a very interesting conversation, and where we left it at was also very interesting. Mr. Benjamin, maybe to start with you, Mr. James told us categorically that maturity is not age factored, because you have those who mature at an early age and those who mature at a later age. So it has nothing to do with, that is the reason as to why he didn't want to put dating in terms of age, because it's all about maturity. So what is your perspective on the same? Because you also stand your ground saying that dating, we do not confuse between love and lust. My question, what has dating got to do with love and lust?
When we talk about, let's not come, sometimes when you read the book on its cover, you may not understand what the content is.
Sure.
But before we get now to the cover of everything, because dating, I think it's one topic that is written with large numbers. But we need to talk about the world of the heart. And when we talk about the world of the heart, we are talking about an unseen world. We only talk about a world that we do not know. Still as well, I want to speak about the wind. You cannot see the wind. You cannot touch the wind, but you see the effects of the wind. When we talk about the heart, we can tell about the world of the heart from what we see, what comes out. When we talk about love, love is one of the functions of the heart. But before we talk about love, we have to think about something which is very important. And in mind education, we talk about 3 pillars. One of them being, we need to understand exactly how we can have the ability to think deeply. We need also to understand how we can have our hearts become strong. And then we need to know about now number 3, which now I can at least relate it with now what we call dating. And that is cohesion through exchange, or rather change that comes from exchange. Because especially when you're talking to a lady and then you want to start dating, there must be that exchange to know one another. But what is this heart? And how can we know? Because for sure, may I believe in this one thing. Even the person that was manufacturing this cup, they sat down, they wrote on a piece of paper the materials that they wanted to use, the shape of the cup, everything they put on paper. And that one we can call it a blueprint. Then the question, and the big question is, what is the blueprint of our hearts? How can we tell the world of our hearts? And then one of the biggest problems is that the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Now, from that heart which is deceitful, people tend to believe that they have love in it. They can pull love out of it. And I want to repeat this. Eunice, you cannot love. You only reflect love. If your man gives you love, you reflect that love, and then you can radiate that love back. Just like the sun and the moon. But tell me, I want to talk about something that James spoke on the last show. Mm-hmm. And he spoke about as you are dating, there is that courtship session. And most of the people, now they are parting their ways during that time. Because I tend to realize that, the lady that I used to think I know is not the lady now we are getting serious to matters together. And even not so, there are many people in marriage, they reach a point and then they're telling you, man, this is not Eunice. This is a demon. This is not Eunice. Me, I met an angel, but now I'm living with a demon. It is simply because of this one thing. You thought when you were dating that you knew them. But one thing that I know, everybody will come with the best part of them. So, kitu naweza sema ni kwamba, unafaa kujua, you need to understand, uzoe kuishi na huyo mtu, akiwa hivyo yuko. Because now that is the real Eunice. The other one that you used to see when you're courting, that is not real. That was the cover. It was not the content. Now you are living now with the content. You are reading now the content. The only thing that you need to have is a very strong heart to collide and to overcome. And you get used to living with that person. But when you have a very weak heart, you divorce, you separate, you fight. Some of the people commit suicide. Why? You know, and let's talk about this. There are people who are dating on Facebook. There are people who are dating online. And then they think they are dating. And all these things, we call them dating. What is dating? You know, you met a girl on Facebook. You started talking on Facebook. Mkaanza kukatiana on Facebook. You made love on Facebook. You started planning marriage on Facebook. And then you divorce on Facebook. And then you are there telling your mother, I want to kill myself. This life has
no balance.
Has no balance. Now I want to die.
Balance right now. Yeah? It's we date on Facebook, get married. No, get engaged on
date,
TikTok.
court, get wedding on Facebook.
Get married on Twitter. Get babies on Instagram.
And then now you are divorcing.
Get
and then you're telling your
divorced.
father, me, I don't feel any taste of life. I don't want to live.
No, but it's interesting when I hear you saying so. But again, amidst that, there are those people who are honestly finding each other through the social media platforms and end up having a relationship and getting marriage. So you cannot dispute that. I agree with the weak heart. For those who are weak, they are the people now who will say, I want to commit suicide. But again, I've not even met this person. But there are those people who are meeting online and end up being together and being happily married and also giving testimony. And they're doing well.
What would be the percentage?
Okay, it's few, which makes it unique and interesting. I mean, what do you think?
And then one thing that I know, these people at some point, yes, they started dating on Facebook and Twitter and everything. But at some point, they feel like we need to meet.
Yes.
Why do they need to meet?
To actualize everything.
Actualize everything,
Yes.
which means the other one was not actual.
Yes.
So it was?
Virtual.
Which means it wasn't real. Now we want to make it real.
Yes.
And there are many people, forget about the few that you say they make it. There are very few who meet, and then once they meet,
Still once.
is that point when you see
No,
somebody and then
you said men don't love. Men love.
Umekuja na boda. Umejificha pale unaona mwenye amekuja mwenye mmekuwa mki. You know, Facebook and Twitter is different.
Without filters.
Without filters.
Now without filters.
Now I have seen that person and then naambia mtu andudhi, mpeleke mwambie umekosea and then urudi ndakulipa. There are many cases.
It's true.
And why is it that way? Why are people used into dating on Facebook and Twitter and everything? It's simply because of this one thing. You know, even we may be together, we may be living in one room together, but you realize that all of us are isolated. Let me ask you, do you have somebody that you can tell everything about your life? Now it comes to the point where she spoke on the last show saying that I had somebody I could talk to, somebody that I would tell everything. And then when we talk about that, even James would tell me, you would not sit with a person and then they tell you that I am dating. Where? On Facebook. Have you ever met? No. And then James says, keep on,
No.
keep up.
Look at
No,
it
no,
from
no, no.
no.
One thing that I know.
Allow me to interrupt you. Look at it from this perspective. We have met online. We also having these dating apps that are all over, right? We have met through this app. So as my mentor, if I come to you, I'll tell you, I've met this person.
Okay.
So I'm coming for advice before I make a step of meeting them physically and now changing every narrative, right? This is the time. So why would you push me to go and meet now physically? If you are dating online, and now I'm coming to seek counsel and guidance from you, because I want, this person is coming. Right now, the online dating, you find that I'm dating someone who is in Germany, someone who is in another country, and they want now to come, or they want me to visit them. Before I take that journey, because them coming this far and me covering those, that's way too many miles to cover. And then for what?
That's why, for me, I think like this. The heart of a person has many functions. And at some point, we have the functions like a car. There are times that you need to accelerate and go. There are times that you need to reverse. And there are times that you have to turn to the left, to the right, and there are times that you have to turn to the left. There are times that you have to apply brakes. So for me, before I even tell you to proceed with whatever you are doing, number one, I have to teach you about the world of the heart. You have to understand the world of the heart, because what is inside of you is what Solomon was able to tell us and said, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So this is coming from your heart. And that's why I'm saying, it might be lust and you think it's love.
On that note, let us listen to Mr. James first before getting to Evelyn. What is your perspective when you listen to Mr. Benjamin? What do you have to say?
There are a number of issues he has brought out very clearly. First of all, we have lust and we have love. Lust, sometimes we call it, in teenage years, we talk about infatuation. And even some young adults go through the phase of infatuation. Now, infatuation is a function, is what I'd call a psychosocial function. Infatuation is natural. It's natural for a man, a male, to be attracted to a female. And that attraction is what we are calling infatuation, which has nothing to do with love. It's a physical attraction. Lust is also physical in nature. It has nothing to do with what the heart wants. It has everything to do with what the body wants.
Thank you.
So it's a physical decision that you're making. So when you're physically attracted to someone, you can't say, I have fallen in love with this person. So I have kind of a problem with the phrase love at first sight. Because we do not have love at first sight. What we have is attraction at first sight. That you see something and you're thinking, that's beautiful.
And to
That's
some extent
handsome.
we can say it's
Yeah,
lust.
it looks good. So what you decide to do after that is what will turn into lust or love.
Yes.
What you decide to do after you are attracted, after you see, it's a beautiful cup. So let me take some juice in it, or let me put it there as a trophy. What you decide to do is what determines whether you are now falling in love or in lust. So, and then love, as Benjamin has said, has nothing to do with emotion or feeling again. love is not a feeling, although some people would like to classify it as a feeling. Love is a decision. So when you talk about men loving, we are talking about men choosing to love, making a decision that I will love this woman, I will honor this woman, I respect this woman, I will live with this woman, I will provide for this woman. It's a choice.
Unconditional.
Yes, it is a choice, a deliberate choice.
What?
And it has nothing to do with butterflies in the stomach.
What-
Now, butterflies in the
what
stomach
happens
is
to the
infatuation.
players?
That is why we are talking about infatuation. Players are moved by infatuation. So I can be attracted to you and
lust mostly.
lust for you. Once I get my juice, then I'm thinking, that cup wasn't so good after all.
Yes,
that
yes,
one looks actually better than this one. So it's a phase of infatuation and making a decision based on infatuation, not really choosing to love.
Okay.
Because choosing to love, even with no intimacy, love will still be there. Because you have to ask yourself, what happens to a couple who have been married for 5 years, 10 years, and then something happens. One of them, let's say the man or the woman, loses her legs, or the woman goes through cancer, loses her breasts, and she no longer has that physique that you saw. She has lost her beautiful hair that you used to enjoy touching. What makes you stay is a choice, and that is what we are calling love. Not what you feel.
And that's why I think
Not what
love
is
is
attracting you.
unconditional.
No, I don't want to talk to you again.
It's not what's attracting you, because she's no longer as attractive as she was
Yes.
when she was in good health. That man, listen,
But in marriage, that is where we have the vows in sickness and in health.
it has nothing to do with the vows, because you can change the vows. That's why people divorce. To annul the vows, to nullify. But you can't nullify love. Love is a choice.
But that day you were so busy saying that when you are very serious.
Yeah.
Before the audience, because you said if no matter what happens, I'll be there. Then what changed? Or what will change on the way?
But men change.
And that's why I'm telling you.
But why do you find it a big deal if men change and when a woman
That's
change?
why we are saying this is not love. Because love is unconditional.
I want to talk to Evelyn. I don't want to talk to you. Simply because of this reason. You keep saying, man love, women submit. So we reflect what you give us. So in this case scenario of marriage, whereby you're saying it's a choice. So you made a choice of loving me. That is why I'm your wife in the first place. But circumstances and issues or maybe health issues come along the way. And you do not decide or choose to stick with me. What are you reflecting at that time, and what do you want me to submit to? That is something I'd want you to answer. But let me talk to Evelyn first.
Thank you.
Evelyn, when you listen to these two gentlemen, what is your take in regards to now marriage? Would you prefer you had met them earlier to hear this before making a decision, or would you be like me, I'm okay with what you're saying, I might conform or not conform to that?
Okay, for me, I cannot say that I wish I would have made them earlier.
They're not changing anything. They're making it worse.
They're not changing anything.
They're making it worse.
Yeah, because, okay, Mr. James has said it's attraction at the first sight. Can you say that it was love at the first sight? Yeah, even for me it was attraction. You get, I said I want...
Thank you very much.
So she moved from attraction and made a decision.
Yeah, so because if I said that it was love at the first sight, maybe I could have not made that decision. Say that, okay, this is the man, now let me now make a step with him. It was attraction. But love, for me, say, okay.
So you agree?
Mr. Benjamin said men love, right?
Uh-huh.
But women submit. But for me, before I could not even say that a man loves, because what is there to love?
I mean.
Now, let's talk about
mean.
it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And I want to talk about it in this way. The sun has light. The moon reflects and then radiates. Because how? When we talk about love and saying that love is unconditional, we now shift gears and then we talk about the love of Christ. Because he talks about man, husbands, love your wives. He's not talking about men, love women. He's talking about husbands, love your wives. As Christ loved the church. Let's talk about this. When Christ was loving the church, did he love good people or very evil people?
Very evil people.
Yes. But unconditionally, he loved us even before we knew. While we were yet sinners, he loved us unconditionally. He died for us. So that he now may buy people who looks like him. That's why kwangu mimi usema bibi na bwana ni kinusu na kinusu kingine wanapatana wanakuwa mmoja. It's a 1 + 1 and then it becomes 1, not 2. 1. Which means if I really love my wife, then it means our shortcomings, and mostly this is how God makes people to meet. You realize that my strength and her strength zinapitana. Her strength is my weakness, and my weakness is her strength. My strength is her weakness. So what do? Where she's lacking, I cover. Where I'm lacking, she covers. But now, the people were led by attraction, and they never realized that there was love in that. Then they are still moving because of attraction. The moment that, like Mr. James said, your wife lost one of the breasts because of breast cancer. And because you are not led by love, you're led by lust. What happens? Instead of covering that weakness, you want to, hata unataka ifanyike ikuwe naked, kila mtu ajue. Why? Because there was no love in that. And now when we talk about Christ, does Christ make you naked? He loved us. He covered us with his blood. He covered our sins in such a way that there is no file that you can go and find at tuvute file ya Eunice, and then we see what she has been doing. Christ is not that kind of a Christ. The love of Christ, the love of God is not that kind of love. Once it covers, it has covered. And that's why families who go back to the blueprint, which is the Bible, then they can live. They can live because they get wisdom from God. And true wisdom is to know your shortcomings. The moment you realize that you have shortcomings, and then she knows it, and you have love towards her, and she's submitting, then she covers your weaknesses, you cover her weaknesses. And then you become one. And that's why, acha nikwambie siri moja yenye ujui. Look at the people who have been married for some time. At some point, you look at them and they look alike. Nashindwa kwani mtu na sitaka walioana. Why? Because now they started to, like, I steal some characters from her, she steals some characters from me, and then because we are living together, I behave as she behaves, she behaves as I behave. So we become one. But people who do not have love, people who are led by attraction and lust, anashinda kuteta tu, na nikiona Roslyn anakanga namna gani? Na nikiona James anakanga namna gani? Every time they're like that. But people who are led by love, they know how to cover because they became one.
James.
Yes. There are many aspects of love. First of all, I've demystified and said it's not a feeling, it's a decision as far as men are concerned. The other aspect of love it brings to the table is that it's unconditional. The other thing that is clear about love and how men understand love or supposed to love is that love covers a multitude of sins.
Yes.
Right?
Sure.
So you'll marry a woman who may not be so perfect. And actually there's nobody who's perfect. But you choose to overlook those weaknesses and cover them and honor her as a fellow human being and respect her. So that is what we mean by love covering a multitude of sins. It has nothing to do with sexual attraction. It has nothing to do
Thank you, James.
finances. It has nothing to do with all these aspects that we bring to the table, although they are important, but love is a choice that you make every morning when you wake up and say, as a man, I'll wake up today. I'll go to the streets of Nairobi or the streets of Eldoret, and I'll meet more beautiful women than my wife. But I choose to go home to my wife today.
We shall revisit. Viewer, send in your question, your comments across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. We'll be back shortly.